Hey everyone, welcome back. You know how sometimes managing money feels like you're trying to solve a puzzle with like 1,000 pieces?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Especially when it comes to investing, right?
Mm.
There's just so much advice out there and it feels like everyone's saying something different.
It's true. There's a ton of information,
Yeah.
and it can be overwhelming for sure.
For this deep dive, we thought we'd try to make sense of it all.
Yeah.
So we're checking out this awesome YouTube video by this qualified accountant named Nisha.
Good.
And she lays out this super interesting approach for investing that's like not just financially smart, but also good for your mental game.
I like that.
So we're not just going to list off the steps.
Right.
We really want to dig into like the WHY behind her method so you can actually feel confident making decisions about your money. You know what I mean?
For sure. And, the first step might actually surprise you.
Okay, lay it on me.
You might think, okay, I need to pay off every single debt I have before I even think about investing.
Right, that's what I always hear. Yeah.
But Nisha actually suggests something different,
Oh, really?
starting with building a safety net.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying like
Yeah,
save before paying off debt?
exactly.
Okay, that kind of goes against everything I thought I knew.
I know, right? It might sound counterintuitive, but think about it this way. Let's say your car suddenly decides to break down.
The worst.
Instead of panicking and, racking up more credit card debt.
Which is so tempting in that moment, by the way.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But imagine you could just dip into your savings account,
Okay.
the one with a good interest rate, and cover the cost without stressing.
Okay. Yeah, that would be a game changer for sure.
That peace of mind, that's the power of even just a little bit of a financial cushion.
So it's not about like having a ton of money stashed away. It's more about having that little bit of breathing room.
Exactly. It's like a buffer for when life throws those unexpected curveballs.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Nisha recommends having about 1 month's worth of expenses tucked away in a high-yield savings account. And just to be clear, this isn't your everyday spending money.
Right.
Okay. This is purely for emergencies, for reducing stress.
Emergency fund, only got it. So where do I find these high yield accounts though? Is this where those online banks come in?
Those are definitely an option. A lot of times they offer higher interest rates than those big traditional banks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Credit unions can be good too.
I've heard of those, but not really sure what they are.
They're member-owned, so they tend to have better rates and lower fees than traditional banks.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so once I've got that safety net in place,
Yeah.
time to face the debt dragon, right?
You got it. And we're starting with the debt that's breathing down your neck the most.
Yeah.
High interest debt.
Okay, you're talking credit cards, right?
Exactly. Anything above 8% interest.
Oof. Yeah, that's painful.
It's like a monster eating away at your money.
It really is.
Think of it this way. Paying off a credit card with a 20% interest rate is like getting a guaranteed 20% return on your money.
Oh, wow. I never thought of it like that.
It's wild, right? It's risk-free and way more profitable than most investments you could make.
That's true. It's like guaranteed money just sitting there waiting to be claimed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a huge psychological win here too.
Okay, tell me more.
When you pay down that credit card debt, even just a little bit at a time, it feels so much more empowering than seeing a couple extra dollars in a regular savings account.
It's like you're actually making progress. You can see it.
Exactly. It's a huge motivator.
Okay, so we've tamed the debt monster. We've got our safety net. What's next on Nisha's list?
Now we're going after what I like to call free money, your employer's retirement match.
Ooh, yeah, I've heard about this, but honestly, I don't really get it.
It's simpler than it sounds, I promise.
Okay, good. Because I always thought that maximizing retirement contributions would be like step one.
A lot of advice does start there, but Nisha is all about building that solid foundation first.
Right.
By tackling the safety net and that high interest debt, you're less likely to raid your retirement savings when those unexpected expenses pop up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So now you can go after that free money with confidence.
Okay, so break it down for me. What is this employer match thing anyway?
Basically, it's free money from your employer when you contribute to your retirement account.
Okay.
So let's say your company matches 50% of your contributions up to 6% of your salary.
Okay.
If you contribute 6%, they'll add another 3%.
So I'm essentially getting a 50% return instantly.
Boom. Exactly. It's like
Sure.
magic money.
I see why you call it free money now. I wouldn't want to miss out on that. But I'm guessing there's got to be a catch.
Well, most employers have a limit on how much they'll match.
Okay.
So the key is to contribute enough to get the full match.
Don't leave any of that free money on the table.
Exactly. This is one of the most powerful tools you have for growing your wealth over time.
Okay, it's all starting to click now. It's like we're building this financial fortress brick by brick.
I love that analogy.
First, we're protecting ourselves from falling deeper into debt. Then we tackle the most costly debt.
Yeah.
And now we're maximizing free money for the future.
You got it. And once we've claimed that free money, it's time to really solidify our financial fortress with the full-fledged emergency fund.
Okay. Yeah, the big one, the emergency fund. I've always heard about it, but never really knew how much I should actually be saving.
It's not just for a rainy day,
Yeah.
you know. It's more like for a financial hurricane.
Okay. That's a much better way to think about it.
This isn't about a broken washing machine. This is for when life throws a real curveball your way.
Job loss, illness, starting a business.
Exactly. Those big life disruptions.
So how much are we talking here? I've heard so many different numbers.
Nisha recommends 3 to 6 months worth of essential expenses if you're employed,
Oh, okay.
9 to 12 months if you're self-employed, or have a less predictable income.
Makes sense.
This is about having enough to cover those essential costs while you get back on your feet. You know?
Okay. Yeah, that could be a lot of money, though.
Well-
It feels kind of daunting, honestly.
I get it. It's a big goal. But remember, we've laid the groundwork already. With those first 3 steps, you've basically reduced your financial vulnerability
Okay, that's reassuring.
and created a solid foundation to build on.
So we're not just hoping for the best, we're being strategic about it.
Exactly. And the great thing is, once you actually calculate how much you need for your emergency fund, it becomes a real tangible goal.
Right. I can actually visualize it,
You can break it down into smaller, more manageable steps.
like saving an extra $50 a week or something.
Exactly. Or maybe you challenge yourself to find creative ways to cut back on spending.
I could definitely do that. Okay, so we've tackled the safety net, high interest debt retirement match, and the big emergency fund. Feels like we're finally ready to get to the fun part, investing and watching our money grow.
You got it. And the next step is where the magic of compounding really starts to kick in. Nisha recommends focusing on tax-advantaged investing.
Uh-oh, tax advantaged investing. That
Yeah.
sounds a little intimidating. Can you break that down for me?
It's not as complicated as it sounds, I promise.
Hmm.
Think of it as shielding your investment profits from taxes.
So basically keeping more of my money.
Exactly. Which means more money for you to grow over time.
Okay, I'm listening. What kind of accounts are we talking about here?
Well, in the U.S., there are things like Roth IRAs and traditional IRAs.
Okay. I've heard of those, but to be honest, I'm not really sure what the difference is.
They each have their own specific rules and contribution limits,
Right.
but they can be super powerful tools for building long-term wealth.
So am I not paying taxes on the money I make in these accounts?
That's the general idea,
Huh.
but there are some nuances depending on the specific type of account.
Okay.
For example, with a Roth IRA, you contribute after-tax dollars, but then your withdrawals in retirement are tax-free.
Oh, okay, so I pay taxes now, but not later.
Exactly. While with a traditional IRA, you might get a tax deduction for your contributions, but then your withdrawals in retirement are taxed as ordinary income.
Okay, so it's like choosing when you want to pay the taxes.
Right. And choosing what works best for your situation.
Gotcha. I'm starting to see how this could make a big difference in the long run. Less money going to taxes means more money for me to invest and grow.
Exactly. And the key is to max out your contributions to these accounts whenever you can. The earlier you start and the more you put in, the better off you'll be in the long run.
It's all about playing the long game.
Exactly. Harnessing the power of compound growth.
So we're not just investing, we're investing strategically to keep more of what we earn.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. This Nisha lady clearly knows her stuff.
She's the real deal.
Well, before we dive deeper into these tax-advantaged accounts, I think we need to take a quick break. We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive,
We have.
but stick with us. We'll be right back to break down the next steps in Nisha's optimal order of investing.
See you soon.
Okay, so we're back, and I'm really starting to see the value in this whole build the foundation first approach. It's like we're setting ourselves up for success instead of just throwing money at random investments.
Yeah, it's like you're creating a solid base for everything else to build on.
Exactly. So where do we go from here? We've covered the safety net, high interest debt retirement match, and that emergency fund. What's next on Nisha's list?
So now we're getting into the area where it becomes more about your own personal choices and goals. You know?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Remember that low interest debt we touched on earlier? Like student loans and some car loans?
Yeah, I was wondering when we get to that. It feels different from that high interest credit card debt, you know?
Right. It's not as urgent. It's not like draining your bank account every month.
Yeah, but it's still debt. It's still there in the back of my mind.
Exactly. It can weigh on you mentally and financially.
For sure. It's like this nagging feeling that I should be doing something about it.
Nisha's perspective is that unless this debt is like directly helping you earn more money, it might be better to just pay it off.
So if my student loans aren't helping me get a higher paying job or anything, it might make more sense to focus on paying them down instead of investing that money.
It's definitely something to consider. Think about it this way. Would you rather have an extra $200 a month to invest, or would you rather have that $200 freed up from your monthly loan payments?
That's a good point. It's kind of a trade-off, isn't it?
It really is. It comes down to what your goals are and what's important to you.
Right. Like if I really want to be debt-free as soon as possible, then maybe paying down those loans aggressively is the way to go.
Exactly. But if you're comfortable with the debt and you think you can earn a higher return by investing, then that might be the better option for you.
This is where having a clear financial plan and knowing your risk tolerance comes in handy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all about making sure your financial decisions are in line with your values and your goals.
Okay, so we've tackled the low interest debt dilemma. Now I'm curious about what Nisha says about the mortgage. That's usually the biggest debt people have, and I know a lot of folks are like laser focused on paying it off ASC.
Oh, yeah. It's a common goal. The idea of owning your home outright is really appealing to a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. But from a purely financial standpoint, is it always the best move?
Well, there are a few things to consider with mortgages.
Okay, like what?
Well, first of all, mortgage interest rates tend to be lower than other types of debt.
True, especially compared to those credit card rates we talked about earlier.
Exactly. And when you have a fixed rate mortgage, your monthly payments stay the same, even if interest rates go up in the future.
Oh, that's a good point. It's like built-in protection against inflation.
Right. And did you know that mortgage interest is often tax deductible?
No, I didn't know that. So that can actually save you money in the long run.
Exactly. So it might not always make sense to rush to pay off your mortgage, especially if you could be earning a higher return by investing that money instead.
So Nisha's saying it's often better to prioritize investing over paying down the mortgage.
In a lot of cases, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But she also emphasizes that this is a very personal decision.
Right. It's not just about the numbers.
Exactly. It's about what feels right for you. It's about weighing the potential financial gains of investing against the peace of mind that comes with owning your home free and clear.
That makes sense. Some people just really value that feeling of not having any debt hanging over their heads.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means choosing what feels right, even if it's not the most optimal financial strategy on paper.
Okay, so we've talked about high interest debt, low interest debt, and even mortgages. What about investing in yourself? Nisha mentions that as the last step. And honestly, I'm a little confused about what that even means.
Yeah, it's not your typical investment, right? It's not about stocks and bonds and all that.
Right. It's about investing in yourself, your skills, your knowledge, your experiences.
Exactly. And it's one of the most important investments you can make.
So it's more than just like taking a class to learn a new software for work.
Oh, yeah. It's way broader than that. It could be anything that helps you grow as a person and increase your earning potential.
So like learning a new language or taking a cooking class.
Exactly. Or maybe it's investing in therapy to improve your mental health or taking a course to learn how to start your own business.
I'm starting to see how this ties back to Nisha's whole approach. It's
Yeah.
about building a solid foundation in all areas of your life, not just financially.
Exactly. It's about creating this upward spiral where investing in yourself leads to more opportunities, which allows you to invest more money, which then creates even more freedom and possibilities.
Wow, it's like a ripple effect. One positive action leads to another.
And it doesn't always have to be about formal education or training either. Reading books, attending workshops, listening to podcasts, these are all ways to invest in your personal and professional growth.
I love that. It's about being proactive and constantly seeking out ways to learn and grow.
And remember, it's not just about making more money. It's about becoming a more well-rounded and fulfilled person.
This is really resonating with me. I've definitely experienced how investing in myself, whether it's through travel, creative pursuits, or just learning new things, has made my life richer and more meaningful.
It's about recognizing that you are your most valuable asset. And by investing in yourself, you're essentially investing in your future.
This is such a powerful reminder that financial well-being is about so much more than just the numbers in your bank account. It's
Yeah.
about creating a life that you love, a life that's aligned with your values and your dreams.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the end of Nisha's optimal order of investing. We've covered a lot of ground today, from building a safety net to tackling debt, maximizing retirement contributions, and even exploring the importance of investing in yourself.
That's been a wild ride. But honestly, I feel so much more informed and empowered now. It's like I finally have a framework for approaching my finances in a way that feels both strategic and personally fulfilling.
That's what we were hoping for. But before we wrap things up completely, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question to ponder.
Okay, hit me with it.
If you were to create your own perfect order of financial priorities, what would it look like? How would your unique values, goals, and circumstances shape your approach to managing money?
That's a great question. It's really making me think about what truly matters to me and how I can use my finances as a tool to create the life I want.
Exactly. And I hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and the confidence to do just that.
Remember, personal finance is a journey, not a destination. It's about continuous learning, adapting, and making choices that empower you to live your best life.
And who knows, maybe your perfect order will inspire others to create their own.
I love that. We're all in this together, learning and growing from each other's experiences. All right, we're back for the last part of our deep dive into Nisha's approach to investing, and I gotta say, my head is spinning a little bit.
It's a lot to take in for sure, but I think it's worth it.
Oh, totally. It's just so different from how I used to think about money, you know?
It's a whole new perspective.
Yeah. Like before, it was just kind of like, okay, how much money do I have and where should I invest it?
Right. Just kind of throwing it out there and hoping for the best.
Exactly. But now it's like, okay, let me build a solid foundation first. Let me get my finances in order. Then I can start thinking about investing.
It's like building a house. You got to start with a strong foundation.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. So before we wrap up, I thought it might be helpful to share some resources that can help people actually put all of this into practice.
Yeah, totally. Because knowledge is only powerful if you actually use it right.
Exactly. And the good news is there are so many amazing resources out there these days.
They really are.
In fact, Nisha actually mentions one in her video that I thought was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's called brilliant.org. Have you heard of it?
Oh, yeah. Brilliant.org is great.
It's like this platform for learning all sorts of things, like personal finance investing, even computer science.
They have such a wide range of courses. It's amazing.
I was checking out their website earlier and I was really impressed.
Me too.
It seems like a really fun and engaging way to learn new stuff.
Yeah, and it's not just like watching videos or reading text. They have all these interactive puzzles and challenges.
Oh, that's cool. So it's like you're actually applying what you're learning.
Exactly. It's a really effective way to learn.
Okay, so that's brilliant.org. What about for people who maybe want more personalized guidance? Like maybe they're feeling overwhelmed and don't know where to start.
There are tons of financial advisors and coaches out there who can help with that.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do you find a good one?
Well, first of all, make sure they're a fiduciary.
What does that mean?
It means they're legally obligated to act in your best interest.
Oh, okay, so they're not just trying to sell you something.
Exactly. They're there to help you achieve your financial goals.
Gotcha. And I guess you could also just do some good old-fashioned research, right? Like read reviews, ask for recommendations.
Absolutely. Word of mouth is always a good indicator.
And of course, there are tons of books, podcasts, websites, all dedicated to personal finance.
Yeah, just find what works for you, what you enjoy learning from.
I'm a big podcast fan myself.
Me too. It's such an easy way to learn.
It's like having a conversation with experts in your ear wherever you go.
And you can learn about all sorts of things.
Totally. Okay, so we've got brilliant.org, we've got financial advisors and coaches, we've got books, podcasts, websites. I feel like we've covered all the bases.
I think so. The important thing is to just start learning, start exploring, and find what resonates with you.
And never stop learning, right?
Yeah.
Because the financial world is always changing.
Exactly. It's a lifelong journey.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too. Nisha's approach is really eye-opening.
It really is. It's not just about the numbers. It's about creating a life that's aligned with your values and your goals.
Absolutely. It's about using your finances as a tool to achieve your dreams.
So to everyone listening out there, remember you've got this. Take what you've learned from this deep dive and start building your own financial fortress.
Start investing in yourself, in your future, and in your dreams.
And never be afraid to ask for help along the way.
There are so many resources and people out there who want to see you succeed.
And remember, personal finance doesn't have to be boring or complicated.
It can be fun
Yeah.
and empowering.
So go out there and make those money moves.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Nisha's world of investing. We hope you found it valuable.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep those financial fires burning.